Hello, and welcome back to the Osimania 7K World Cup 2026. I am Surf85, and returning to the commentary booth is Epic Man 2 from the previous match. Hello there.
Hello there. Yeah, coming back for this match, we are going to be going through another fairly even match where, well, even in the sense that both these players are kind of coming from the tail ends of their respective spectrums. Going to be none other than China, Seed 3, going up against the likes of Italy, Seed 30. So both these teams are definitely quite prolific within this tournament as well. Maybe China more than Italy on the contrary, but this is going to be a bit of an interesting match. We have basically probably going to be really similar to that of the Philippines versus Singapore match that we had like literally only an hour ago or something. So definitely gonna see what we're gonna. I'm interested to see what we're gonna be seeing here. Yeah.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a preview of the players that you see here. For Team Italy, some of them are actually not really first timers in Mania 7K, or I'd say I've seen them in some super old. Well, when I say super old, it's like what 3 years ago, 7K tournaments. Like Lorak, I remember seeing them before. Meanwhile, for Team China, everyone knows that they are a perennial contender to get to the podium. They were the second. They are the currently. Not currently. They were last year's second placers. Five.
Oh, yeah, I feel like in general, China is definitely a really prestigious team within the 7K World Cups in general because of their history, where if you were to kind of glance over it, they are a podium contender and a very consistent one as well. They won second back in 2025, last year, 2022, and 2017. And the last time they managed to win first place was back in 2016. So,
Oh, my internet died. I did not notice.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, like China basically has like more than enough history to compete in a tournament like this, where it's essentially just they basically know their ways around various things. And Italy is also a team that is also relatively new to the 7K tournaments. The last time they actually played and qualified was back in 2018, where they got between 9th and 12th place. Other than that, they did play in the qualifiers back in 2024, didn't pass, and then they played in the group stage in the same year that China won first. So there is definitely some subtle foreshadowing going on here. We do get the ban to Protect's going to be none other than Rise 3 getting the ban, and EX2 also gets banned as well. The Protect's being LN2 and Rise 2, which is going to be our first pick of this round, Italy's Protect. So definitely a bit of an interesting one as well, considering that I'm assuming that either of the teams want to try and play it safe for their first pick, just to see whether they can just try and kind of peek into the defenses of each other, for example, because I think here, generally, China's in a position where they basically just feel they can do whatever the heck they want going into a match like this, and Italy probably gonna have to try and catch up to them to stand up to the task and so on, as it's actually a bit of an unsafe lead on the side of China as well. About only 2,000 points of a deficit that separates the two.
Well, you mentioned something about advantages here, and honestly, I do not really see any of the teams pulling ahead that much, especially in a chart like this. And I have to mention, like, the Italian players are capable of keeping up, as you are seeing right now, and maybe China has to maybe increase its accuracy, maybe try to get into the rhythm. Really, again, this is their first chart of this World Cup, of this campaign, so maybe there's some jitters right there. But again, these are veterans. They'll be able to get there, and you can see already they're already starting to settle down as you see them increasing their lead. And something that has happened over the past few moments is Colombina dropping to below 99%. They were keeping up with Van Wilder's accuracy just a few moments earlier.
Oh, and Colombina actually misses, right? As you mentioned that as well. No one really has found a miss throughout this match so far, or at least this pick, really. And Colombina is the first of many to find them. Van Wilder in with really good accuracy, but however, the main competition is really just Lorak trying to set his sights on the likes of King Jiding, which basically is looking really equal. It's only really about 0.05% that really separates the two in accuracy. It's really just down to Colombina to try and match that Van Wilder, but it's really difficult given that they're plummeting under the 99% accuracy department, and another miss to really just plummet it down even further.
The what I'd say maybe Colombia is just finding some moments of instability really throughout the entire chart because they are getting through the patterns just fine. As China will be picking up their first point of this match.
Yeah, very strong point to start off with as well. Ratios look really straightforward across all players, trying to at least keep it between 400 and 500 perfects. The only outlier being Colombia, not looking to at least be comfortable within a pick like this where it's just really dense and very finger control heavy. Basically, you basically gotta know how to make your fingers dance to be able to play a map such as Bloody Mary to begin with. So LN2 does get the pick next. It is China's pick to make next, as this is a breakpoint that they won off of the Italians. LN2 gets the pick, and that's honestly a really rare pick as well. What is this doing?
Alright, unfortunately, my internet died earlier as I was about to preview some of these players. I hope the World Championship thing came through before it did. But anyways, I'll have to mention China is classically a really strong noodle team with a really strong rice backing as well. They're pretty similar to how Team Philippines is set up. In a way, like really strong noodle team with a really strong rice core as well. And honestly, this pick, aside from it being well, the language of the song, really fitting that Team China picks this, but LN
Oh, of
coordination at
course.
this level is their territory. Like almost no one is going to be beating them in charts like this. There's like
Yeah.
only several people. I could probably count them with all of the fingers in my hands and the toes on my feet. About the actual people who really specialize in this patterning. Slow element coordination is just one heck of a skill set to deal with.
Yeah, the number of people that can really at least tackle maps such as this is literally just boiling down to literal digits of room temperature. So the fact that China's picking into a map like this definitely makes a little more sense. They feel confident enough to go into a map such as Tanyangji, where they just know how to release a lot of the patterns as well. If not for LN1, the more release-oriented map, this one's definitely a lot more taxing because this is a lot more about finger control, and we see Lorak not having the best of days on it, taking about a few misses here, dropping under the 98 accuracy or something. That's actually really concerning. While Turks is literally on top of the entire lobby with a near 100% accuracy score for the time being going to the back half. Oh dear lord.
Yeah, that's like one of the specialists of this patterning. Really, Turks is one of those people that I've mentioned, and like it just like put it into perspective. There is a chart in the love section called Avril. It was part of like the 2016 or the 2017 World Cup map pool, and that was semis level, and it's similar patterning to this. Though I'm not sure, it's debatable if Avril is harder than this, but you're seeing a really difficult chart that a lot of players don't really like to tackle unless like they're playing in a tournament or something. As you saw King Jiding unfortunately finding a drop, but that doesn't really matter right now because even with Lorak's, even with Turk's accuracy, that's not really gonna be That's not really going to be affecting the team score at all. Unfortunate series of misses there from Lorak, and I'll have to give Colombina a shout out here for full comboing this chart. Turks, you made this into a chord jack chart. What is this ratio?
Bro, Are we sure this is Rice 4? This looks oddly different for a Rice 4. I don't get why there's so many Ellens that you need to try coordinating between. Could this really be
There's
down to fate? In question?
maybe. Though I'll tell you, there is actually a way to make it look like a core jack. You know those lane cover skins? Instead of making it one solid lane cover, make it into stripe lane covers. Now the Ellens
Oh, true!
will look like jacks.
True. Okay, this is your brand new LN4 slot, guys. It's gonna be the LN4 Jack pick. Congratulations! And Tonyun, she is the first of many to get that treatment. But that aside, China is now up by 2-0 for the time being. Italy goes in for the next pick. It's gonna be Rice 4 that gets the pick. I mean, honestly, like, paying attention to what happened in Rise 2, I honestly don't really know how to feel about a map like this, or at least if it is, well, while it is the pick that Italy is just throwing out here.
I mean, it was mentioned, I forgot who mentioned it in commentary in the previous match, that Rise 4, the score variance here is going to be pretty tight. Regardless if you're in Team Korea or you're the C32 team, which I unfortunately forgot who they were. Like, the score variance is going to be very tight. Like, if you're gonna plot all of the scores in this chart into a box plot of some sort, this is the box plot where it's just really tight. The score distribution is really tight here, and Italy might be taking advantage of that, because who knows, really, any of these players from Team China could miss. So as well Italy. But again, I mentioned, like, Italy does have players that can keep up with Team China on the Rice. That's a matter of keeping themselves consistent and trying to limit those mistakes.
Yeah. In fact, the person that mentioned that in the previous match is literally the person you spent 42% of the matches in 2023's iteration commentating with.
Oh
so,
so yeah, you had to point that out.
I had to, yeah. There was just no other way around it. But yeah, like,
shout out to Potassium.
Potassium, my beloved. So yeah, going into a map like this, Vice is a map that's like relatively volatile, not in the sense of technicality, but more in the sense that it's a map that really just demands all hands on deck for consistency alone. So trying to at least hit every single one of these gnarly anchors in general is definitely something that I feel a lot of players would generally just find struggles with, just because of the fact that they just span across all 7 keys on the board, and it's just not a really consistent map per se in terms of how you need to at least switch between some of the more odd finger placements that you really need to try and hit.
Yeah, actually, my concern here for Team Italy is actually probably Columbina, considering their performance in the previous chart. The main concern I have is when this chart gets to its densest point, which should be a few seconds from now. Like, are they able to keep up their combo, keep up their accuracy as well? And so it's so far so good. We're practically tied between all of these players, and the average accuracy here is favored a little bit towards Italy, with Lorax 99.97, Colombina just a tenth behind. But Team China is starting to stabilize. Both of them, both Van Wilder and Ji Ding, as I mentioned their name, they find the drop, and that's actually very massive. I mentioned any of these players can miss, and Italy, this might be their best chance to get a point off these Titans.
Dude, there's no way King Jiding, of all players in China, is the one to find a drop going into Vice. The fact that that is actually the outcome is honestly disconcerting to me. And the fact that there is actually potential that Italy is actually going to snag a random point, one of the most random points in the match alone from China in question, one of the champion podium players that always looks for challenges. What is going on? Van Wilder is going to have to try to at least maintain the accuracy really high, because somehow they're doing what they can. King Jiding as well, but Lorax is the one at the forefront of the focuses. 7,000 points in the advantage. And Colombina.
Oh my god, no. Oh my gosh, no.
Colombina missed. No, this could be it.
Oh, they did it.
2,000 points. They barely just made it out.
Oh my gosh. Italy almost gave us a heart attack right there. They scored their first point of this World Cup against a really unexpected team to do it against. Though, again, I said it. The score variance in this chart is going to be really tight. And Italy will want to take advantage of that because they know there is a chance that the Chinese players can miss. And you saw what happened right there. That one miss from Xi Ding. Really unfortunate. One miss would have been a really nutty V1SS right there.
Yep.
And there you go. As you see, it's 2-1. China leads Italy.
Well, goodbye to my pick'ems, because Italy has just won a point against China in the round of 32 map pool. As we go into LN1, this is going to be the more release-oriented pick. Definitely a pick that I would have expected China to throw out from perhaps 5 miles away, just because they basically saw, I mean, pretty much everyone witnessed how LN2 went down, so it's pretty much a no-brainer that this would also serve as a potential alternative option, especially with Turks just literally knowing how to clap back whenever there is points where it's really needed. So that's definitely the response that China really needs to bring up against the likes of Italy, because of how it was a pretty unexpected first point for Italy to get out as well. King Jiding probably not as happy with how the performance on that map went. However, they're looking to try and at least improve upon that just to see what can happen. That's a really quick abort, actually. Heck.
Yeah, so just a few things that happened inside the room there. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it enough or if I mentioned it at all. I have to give a shout out to Lorak for that 40 miss performance on the previous chart, Rise 4. I have to say it that way because the ratios in that chart are going to be really nutty.
Bro, the fact that we have people on the lowest seeded teams in the tournament that are literally getting sub 50 perfects on maps like that is honestly genuinely concerning. Like, bro, are we living in the year 3026? What even is this? This map pool should be difficult for low teams, right? Surely. There's no way that every single team is just actually that good and have literal untapped market potential that's just encapsulated within their skill sets.
So, welcome to the Mania 7K World Cup 3026. There you go. Anyways, here comes Endless Summer, chart by yours truly. Can't believe I'm saying that. And again, we mentioned it earlier. China is a noodle team through and through. You saw what happened with LN2. This one, while the patterning is a bit more dense, you're still going to be seeing lots of holes, lots of control-heavy elements here for this chart. And Lorak, unfortunately, finding a miss. Pretty much similar to what happened in LN2 earlier. But again, this is a relatively more... I'd argue, or a lot of people would actually argue that this might end up easier than LN2 overall. Colombina, unfortunate miss coming from their end.
Yeah, these are some really bad misses from the side of Italy. China basically just made one of the strongest picks that they could possible by exploiting both the likes of Lorg and Colombina on a map like this, where they just need them to just not have a chance of winning, to at least respond with a lost breakpoint, more or less. So that's actually not even a lost breakpoint, like a breakpoint they were going to make, but they lost it at the very end or something. Just going off of one miss in question. So that is 60,000 points in the favor of China for the time being. There's only really about 1/4 of the map left, but Turks literally untouchable right now. Just everyone in China is just genuinely crazy. Oh my goodness.
Wait, is this gonna be higher than Han Jae-hoon's score? I have no idea, but it's on track to do it, I think.
Bro, Turks is literally about to snap. King Jiding is literally complimenting them really well, and the fact that Turks is literally approaching that near 1 million mark already, I'm genuinely scared to see what he gets. What's he going to get this time?
Oh my gosh, it is higher than Han Jae-hoon. This is higher than Han Jae-hoon's score.
No.
This is higher than Han Jae-hoon's score. What?
Mate, what? Bro,
Um,
automatically. Oh my god, no.
what is this?
China is mad. China's genuinely really angry at the Italians right now. There is some family feud going
Yo,
on right here, but but here we
yo, what
go.
is
Second band
this?
wave is a go. So we may as
Well,
well just
that
see
that
what
that
player is gonna go.
that is
Oh
a statement. That is a statement
yeah.
score.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Turks literally knows how to clap back whenever the situation calls for it. I mean, you've seen it in the community various times on perhaps a few certain maps' comment sections, but you can draw the lines to that one. It does look like Italy is actually gonna barely win the rolls by only about 6 points, however. What?
Anyways, we'll have to pause that thought a little bit for now because we're now entering the second banning phase here. If you're not aware, once a certain point of the match happens, at least for this round, first after the fourth chart is played, there will be another set of roles and another set of bans here. Obviously, Italy will be banning LN3. I think that's pretty much their best best possible ban
Good.
here.
Yeah, exactly. I for Italy, I was definitely expecting them to ban between LN3 or Hybrid 1. Hybrid 1 just because it has some sheer resemblances to that of LN1 and LN2 especially. So I would definitely imagine that Italy would likely struggle with the likes of Midnight Driving just because of the role control aspect that is in the map itself. China, on the other hand, definitely expected them to ban out maybe another straightforward Rice pick. Rise 5 is volatile enough to the fact that it's a lot riskier for Italy than the likes of Vice, for example. So maybe Rice 1 or EX1 can get a ban, but I doubt they're going to play EX1. It does look like Rice 5 gets the ban instead. Huh.
Okay, that's interesting, actually.
Interesting, but pretty much expected, in my opinion.
Maybe, yeah. Does look like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Italy is going for Rice 1. Though, okay, personally, like at least if we're looking into history, there's this thing called the skill ceiling. And I honestly feel that Rice 5 actually plays more towards China's higher skill ceiling overall than, say, this chart, where the patterning is well, yeah, sure, it's wild. It is a tad bit more straightforward than Rice 5. So I'm actually surprised that China did decide to ban Rice 5 instead of this one, or maybe one of the hybrids. But either way, I think China could afford to ban practically anything in this pool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is exactly what I have been alluding to earlier in the matches, and pretty much a good majority of the Radic 32 matches, in fact. Like, it's just the ideology that a lot of the higher teams and countries overall just feel like they have the potency to just feel like they can play with whatever they want without feeling like or worrying that they're going to have to risk anything against some of the teams that are a lot more new to the scene, or at least less endeavored in everything as, say, teams like China, the Philippines, or South Korea, for example. So the fact that we're early into this map, this is a really short map as well, so anything futile like misses, for example, is going to be a lot riskier, and as I call that, Colombia misses. Oh, God.
The worst possible place as well, because this is practically the break section. And okay, the moment I said break, they also go combo. So taking the break and break section a little bit too literally like right there. So that does mean China will be pulling ahead a bit more faster than the beginning of this chart as we enter the halfway point.
Yeah, it's literally just honestly a bit of an expected outcome for the side of Italy, to be honest. I mean, we have definitely seen that Colombina has a tendency to struggle a bit when it comes to consistency, and I feel like, in generally, like, respectfully, that is probably not one of their strongest fields of experience, really. Just going off the fact that I feel like overall, every other map that we've seen in this round, Colombina was always the one kind of messing on the side of Italy, whereas it was usually just the likes of Laura just do what they can to try and match the Chinese players, which he's still doing a really good job at, especially in matching that of King Jiding in question, and especially Van Wilder. It's just the team consistency play that's taken a massive toll on the side of Italy, especially against the likes of China, where you have 2 Lorax against 1 in here.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Like, if anything, I actually did not expect that Lorak would squeeze themselves right in between Ching and Van Wilder score-wise in this chart. Like, in terms of like how high their scores are going to be. That is a really good run there from Lorak as China hits match point, and like clockwork they are going for EX3.
Oh, of course. I mean, honestly, expected pick. I feel like China at this point can just do anything, but I feel like in general they're kind of just making it a lot more they're looking to try and at least make it difficult for Italy to try and at least snag some points now, because the only opportunity where Italy actually managed to successfully do it was Vice. And that was just going off of Qin Jiding actually showing vulnerability on the consistency department. Only in that pick in general. Lorak is generally a player in the Italians that literally stands atop the rest, especially with the fact that against the likes of King Jiging and just other players such as, you know, perhaps, I am actually so stupid. What were the other players? Oh my god.
I mean, there's Turks, there's Van Wilder, and there's also
Van Wilder, yeah, Van Wilder, yeah, okay, that guy, yes, okay. I was thinking of the Geometry Dash YouTuber for some reason. But yeah, like the fact that Lorak is able to match up to those players on the side of the Chinese team is definitely a statement to be made from the Italians that they definitely have the potential to try and match that of the players that literally reserve themselves spots in the higher tiers of in the qualifier seedings. It's really just, I think if there was maybe at least another player to try and complement that of Lorak, they probably would definitely have a stronger shot in anything than anything, really.
Honestly speaking, like Colombina shouldn't be discouraged by this at all. Like, they're showing really good form. I cannot imagine if they continue to improve in 7K, they are going to be a force to reckon with. At least even amongst the European mania teams. Like, I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see their improvement later on. Maybe now they're gonna be struggling, but as you mentioned, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be better. They're gonna be better next year. But again, I have to mention this. They're not gonna be out. They're not yet out. They're still gonna show up next weekend, regardless of the results.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the same for like every other team that's losing here. Like, bro, just imagine if Brand of Furiously was actually a single elimination bracket. That would have been the
that would be sad.
So many teams. Bro, because, like, imagine Australia just got out so easily just because they lost, like, what, Oct 4 or something against the likes of Ireland. Like, that would have definitely been one thing that would have upset so many players in general. And even then, like, the Italians are going to have to face a lot of dangerous teams going into the losers bracket as well. Because, like, if it does come down to losing against the likes of China, then they're going to have to face between Germany or Mexico in the round of 16. That alone is a statement to be made, because even with the potential that Lorak has, they can definitely stand up against a lot of other right players in various other teams, for example. They just need the team consistency and the right resources to be able to pull off such feats, really.
Regardless of whoever their opponent is going to be next weekend, it is going to be a really interesting match for Italy, I'd say. Lorak and Colombino finding more misses in this chart. I think this is actually Lorak's first miss in the chart, if I am not mistaken, which is really impressive. They're able to maintain a combo for a long time in this chart. Meanwhile, on the other side of your screen right here, we've been talking about the Italian players more throughout this entire chart. I mean, to be fair, there's not much to talk about really on the other side, because look at their accuracies, look at their combos. Turks and Chick-Cheating, two of the most formidable players in Mania 7K history. You just know they're gonna pull performances like this on command.
Exactly. I mean, even that purchase pretty much goes without saying. If you need China to do well, they're pretty much gonna do well regardless of which. Like, you basically don't even need to ask them to at least perform at their peak because they're already bound to be at that state by default anyways. I mean, they literally continually get podium year after year, but they're still longing for that next first place. Really, after what, 10 years now since 2016's iteration? That's literally the one thing that I think China wants to try and continue fighting for, because they've shown every year on a very consistent manner that they are really, really consistent when it comes to their performances and just general physicality, flexibility, dexterity, all of the above, really. Option D. So I definitely feel like there's untapped potential from like everyone, and China definitely has that as well, as much as I have been kind of waffling about it for the Italians with Lex Loric on the Rice map. So gonna be really interesting to see how China's gonna be kind of bringing out their wings going past the round of 16 weekend, for example, where they will face the opposite of Italy's next opponent as they take this match 5-1 with an incredibly dominant score. Even dominant is literally an understatement for how big the score differential is here. Oh my, dude. Oh my
Oh
god.
my gosh. My internet died mid-sentence, I think. And then suddenly I see the results screen, like, what is this ratio, Turks? What is that 200 count? Also, I have to mention again, Lorak and Columbina, thanks for giving us a fun one, like a really fun moment in this match with Rice 4. I'm pretty sure that's a point that they'll never forget. Like, they managed to make a Titan bleed.
Exactly. If you're a team that's barely even played in the World Cups fully and you're just pulling this off after what, years of not even playing in the actual bracket stage, this can definitely send a message throughout the entirety of the community within that country in general. So definitely a statement to be made from the Italians, and even if it's just 1 point, that alone is definitely something you can still remember for quite the while being. So China, seed 3, going to punch their ticket into round of 16. They will be facing between the likes of Germany or Mexico, depending on who wins that match. Whereas Italy faces the opposite, like I have mentioned. So gonna be really interesting to watch going into round of 16. But obviously that is the final match that will be showcased for this weekend. Not this one that we just had, but the Germany vs Mexico one, just for clarification. Yeah, you can see it here.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well, a very interesting match indeed. And speaking of interesting matches, the next one is going to be a really good one. You have Poland, one of the powerhouse 7K countries of Europe. Like, historically speaking, they have reached the semifinals weekend of the Oceania 7K World Cup before. They've done it before. And Vietnam, a team that, so to speak, they have been more of the shakier Southeast Asian 7K teams. But as it stands, like, they are a team that will want to prove themselves that they are able to be like their Southeast Asian comrades, like the Philippines, like Thailand, like Indonesia. Like, they're able to keep up with them and also be able to get through this round of the 7K World Cup with a win. We're gonna see that matchup 26 minutes from now. This has been Sergio 85 and Epic Man 2. As far as I know, there will be a change in commentary team, so we'll be seeing you guys very soon.
Take care, y'all.